BookTube, Science Fiction Reads here with my week 4 wrap-up for New Worlds November, and I guess wrap-up in general. So, week 4 was robots and AI, and I read 3 things. As I already pointed out in the last video, I had already started and basically finished Neuromancer. This was a second time reading it for me. I didn't realize it was so long ago that I read this. I read it in 2016, I think, which in hindsight was too early. I understand now why I had difficulty with it. I had not read enough, well, not enough hard SF, certainly, but not enough literary SF, not enough mind-bending AI stuff. So I enjoyed it more the second time through. Kind of a strange pick, because I read the next book, Count Zero, as well. Kind of a strange pick for this week, Robots and AI, because the AI are mostly in the background of these stories. So Neuromancer, of course, is basically a hacking and theft story, really. And no other book will make you want to take hallucinatory drugs and hack corporate data systems. None that I've read, anyway. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the world building. And as much as it's frustrating at times, I really like how Gibson, he does not hold your hand through this. You are just along for the ride. There are references to things. You have no idea what they're talking about at times, but I eventually came to learn, especially in Count Zero, the second book, that anything that's not making sense, eventually somebody is going to explain it a couple chapters later or half a book later. Anything dealing with the AI, especially in Count Zero, it gets really complicated in Count Zero because, of course, well, I don't want to be too spoilery, but the AI in Neuromancer kind of achieve, well, freedom, first of all. There's no more, like, kind of cognitive lock or whatever you would want to call it. And so now the AI are kind of roaming the net, doing their own thing. And this takes place several years in the future after Neuromancer, several years after Neuromancer. Probably like 100, 150 years in our future. But by the time of Count Zero, the AI has fractured into multiple sub-AIs, and they've all taken on personalities of like Haitian voodoo gods, and they talk in Haitian half the time. So I did go on Google and translate it. Didn't help much. Still was complicated unless you read into like Haitian gods and stuff, which was interesting but super confusing, but also super, super cool. Considering these were written in the early and mid 80s, they're like so good. I mean, I've read so much stuff that's tropey or copying stuff from this, but like this was some of the first stuff written about this stuff. I really want to read Werner Vinge's True Names, which is also about I believe hacking, but also just being in cyberspace and using an alias. I think that was written before Neuromancer, and so I'm really curious to read that. But my God, these lay the groundwork for just really great AI ideas and cyberpunk in general, of course. Even though it's a really depressing, gritty future you wouldn't want to live in, much like the world building in Perdido Street Station, my favorite book, my favorite world building. These are not places I would want to live in, yet I love spending time in these worlds. The hallucinatory drug use, the like street talk and gang talk, it's just a whole nother world, and it's really cool to visit it. Great characters. Somebody commented on my last video that Neuromancer was great, but Count Zero left them cold. I kind of felt the same way. I really wasn't endeared to the characters as much in this one. Of course, they're all new characters, right? Are they all new? There's no real recurring characters except the Finn, which is a guy who basically gets stuff done, or you can buy information or tech off him and stuff. He showed up. And the plot from Count Zero really kind of just wrapped up super quick at the end. Not as good as Neuromancer. I want to read Mona Lisa Overdrive, but I think I need to take a couple weeks or so break, because this stuff takes me longer to read than normal. Like, these are short books, but at times it can be confusing, and I'm backtracking, trying to figure out what something means or what's taking place. So I think I will read this shortly, but I'm gonna take a bit of a break, I think. Read something else. I am doing a buddy read with a couple other booktubers. Sean D. Standfast, Brandy at Booklectic, Nathan at The Rambling Reviewer, Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, I think Scott from the Bookish Bryants. There might be others I'm forgetting now, but we're going to read Diamond Dogs Turquoise Days by Alistair Reynolds. Something I read years ago. Some of the very first Reynolds I read, and of course, I've read almost all of it. Certainly I've read all the Revelation Space stuff aside from 1 or 2 short stories. So this will be interesting to reread. But anyways, what else did I read? I read one short story by, I think Andrew Lutz was his name, called Android's Orchid. Super short. It's like a 15-minute read, 20 or so pages, and I downloaded that from Amazon and read it on my phone on the Kindle app, and it was cool. It was about well, kind of more hacking, really. It was a guy who had a Android kind of servant kind of thing, and he hacked it and inadvertently gave it, I wouldn't say consciousness, but more free will. And kind of tropey, but it was good. I'd read more in that series. This story was actually part of a chapter from a novel, but from a different character's point of view, so that's kind of interesting. Probably not the best place to start with that author's world or work, but it was good. So that's it for New Worlds November. I did not get all of the little sub prompts. There's 13 of them, and I got about half, but halfway through the month I decided I'd rather just read what I want and not try to focus on getting all the sub prompts checked off, even though that is kind of fun. But I think I enjoyed myself more just reading what I wanted to read. So a big shout out to the Bookish Bryants, Scott and Becky, for inviting me to be a co-host. I've never co-hosted anything. That was cool, and I met a bunch of cool people, and I've really enjoyed the Boxer app, the chats we've had, which will continue because we have, well, Scott and Becky created, came up with the idea for the New Worlds SF book club. I think there's 10 of us members now, and we're gonna read a book a month starting January, and the first one's already been picked. We all secretly picked a book, put it in a pot. Some members know all the choices, but most of us have decided to go in blind. So we don't know what's in the hat. We don't know what's going to be picked each month, and that's kind of exciting. And the Bookish Bryant's channel has much more information on that. They got 1 or 2 videos out already about that. And I went ahead and created a logo for it, which I'll probably use in the future for future videos. I'll probably maybe do a review for each book we read, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, New Worlds November was fun, and I'm looking forward to more stuff involved with the same co-hosts in the book club we have. So as always, thanks for watching, and see you next time in future videos.